Tonight's program takes us backstage to witness firsthand the creation, start to finish, of a new play mounted on the American stage.
A play about a photographer who is stranded in a small town in the middle of nowhere is deconstructed on national TV from the perspective of the characters in the play, the screenwriting process, and the narrator. Hey everyone, welcome back to Clubhouse Movies Podcast. I'm your host, Marc Rubalcaba, joined once again by Mr. Abel Pineda. Today we'll be reviewing Asteroid City, directed by Wes Anderson. All right, well, Asteroid City. Okay, I
guess we got to get into this.
We got to get into this, and I've actually seen it maybe 3 times now. And I've
seen it 1.5 times, like run through it in my head. You'd think someone like me, who is a photographer, would take joy that there's a movie about a play about a photographer, but no.
I think my biggest complaint about this movie, I just wrote here, not funny. And the reason why...
Yeah, it was not funny. You had to hunt for whatever you thought was funny. And the thing is, it's Wes Anderson. So it's like, is this funny?
So I was thinking about this because for some reason I just happened to watch a bunch of Quentin Tarantino movies sandwiched in between viewings of this movie.
Yeah.
And I think they both kind of came out around the same time because I was thinking about Rushmore in 1998, right? And that was kind of like a hot thing that came out. And unfortunately, I never saw it. I don't know why.
Yeah, I'm racking my brain trying to think about what the heck that was.
But I do remember Royal Tenenbaums, and I do remember Life Aquatic with Steve Zissou. And Royal Tenenbaums had that one moment, I think that was pretty funny, when Gwyneth Paltrow accidentally got her finger cut off. And she just had
that was funny.
And she kind of had a funny expression on her face, yeah.
Yeah.
And Life Aquatic had some crazy eye moments with William Dafoe and Bill Murray that I can go back and think about. But other than that, I think I'm kind of done with Wes Anderson for a little while because
didn't he make that one other movie, Hotel, the Budapest Hotel
Grand
or
Budapest
something?
Hotel.
Was that his?
And he also made...
See, that one, I enjoyed that one. It wasn't bad.
Now we last year. We also, or maybe I reviewed it, The French Dispatch. Also,
you did.
Not funny, and I saw it at the Burbank AMC where all the Hollywood extras go to watch movies that they've been in, and boy, they laughed at every single cut. Look at that soft
sniffing down the fart medicine, huh?
Yeah, totally right.
Oh,
I didn't get any of the jokes, and I thought it was just a little kind of fun, kind of a quirky movie, but not so great. However, I will defend Fantastic Mr. Fox because,
dude, yes,
yeah. So, and I'm also going to defend Isle of Dogs, which was another one.
Yes,
that I did.
Also, I think he needs to do more of these movies, man. Like that kind of movie is totally his speed. They're off kilter just enough, with the animation, that he can kind of write a pretty neat plot that doesn't have to go all over the place like his physical movies do, we'll say.
Yeah, and I don't know if he's trying to be like Quentin Tarantino or he's some sort of offshoot of him because I feel like the styles are kind of the same when it comes to like deadpan.
But
linger on.
But it feels like it's like they're two sides of the same coin,
Yeah.
It's like, or one has a glass and we'll say Salvador Dali is holding the glass to make this thing even weirder. And you have Quentin Tarantino who sees it half empty, and you see Wes Anderson who sees it half full.
And I almost feel like if Wes Anderson DP'd a Quentin Tarantino movie, maybe you would have a masterpiece, unbeknownst to anything that anyone has ever seen.
Let's talk about this.
Yeah.
Let's record scratch that.
I'm not saying that Quentin Tarantino has a cinematography problem because I like, his movies and they look great, but they are not fantastically, cartoonish, let's say.
I think they're more well-written than Wes Anderson. The thing is with Quentin, his movies are just, there's not these crazy, it's not like this onion action going on. Like with Wes Anderson's movies, you got to pay attention to literally every single little detail. And the problem is most of the characters speak too fast.
They speak too fast, and they also speak like they're acting. Like they're like, you don't believe that these are characters in the movies. And you talk about the little details. I've seen Pulp Fiction like a million times, right?
Who hasn't?
And I'm still learning things about it. Like, for example, did you know that every time John Travolta goes to the bathroom, something bad happens? Things like that. And also,
I just put that together.
Yeah, including his own murder halfway through the movie, and we see him at the end too.
But the thing is, these are good.
Yeah,
these are good things.
And then there's also a scene that I picked up maybe about a year ago because I don't do drugs, right? But there's a scene, throw it away and you'll miss it, where Pulp Fiction now, where John Travolta is buying heroin from his drug dealer, and then the drug dealer has a casual throwaway line, you think, where he goes, "Oh, by the way, I'm all out of baggies. Can I give you a balloon?" And John Travolta is like, "Yeah, I don't care, fine." Right? But if you know this thing, you were supposed to put coke in balloons and heroin in baggies or some form of this. And this is why Uma Thurman, when she finds the balloon or the baggie, she snorts it thinking it's coke.
Oh, and ODs.
And ODs because she took the wrong drug. She thought it was something else because the guy was out of bag. Like, it's just layered on top of layers on top of layers. And then, like, I go to a cigar shop the other day, and and I'm talking to the cigar guy about pipes because I don't know anything about pipes. And he's like, like, this is good stuff. People buy this, people like this, but I don't know a whole lot about pipes too. He's like, yeah, I know. He's like, why is everyone so interested in pipes? I'm like, I just think about that scene from Inglourious Bastards where Christoph Waltz pulls out that German, like, giant pipe.
Yeah, yep. I know exactly what scene you're talking about.
And you can picture it in your mind. It's not like the most beautifully shot thing in the world, but, like, it's so weird. But and even, like, yesterday.
The scene is so intentional, dude. It is, like, quiet. It's him. You hear every minute detail of that strike.
And then I went to a restaurant yesterday, and then the guy's like, "Oh, how many people in your party?" And I go, 3. And I look at, like, like my people. I'm like, "This is the German 3."
Yeah, the German 3. Every time I see someone throw, like my son, when he counts, he goes 1, 2. I'm like, "Excuse me, son." I'm like, "What's up with this?" I'm like, "We do this here, buddy." He's like, "Listen here, Vada."
There's just a lot of little things, and they pick up and they snowball in a Quentin Tarantino movie. And then I actually ended my Quentin Tarantino role with Once Upon a Time in Hollywood. And, like,
I have yet to see that movie.
Yeah, I was actually inspired to go drive by the murder house.
No way!
Saw that movie.
That's a trek, dude.
Huh?
That's a trek from your place.
Yeah, right. Well, I gotta get some good acai bowls, and the best ones are in Studio City.
Acai.
You wearing your Brazilian jiu-jitsu? They quote.
Oh, I just realized that.
Their acai.
How fitting. Zoom jitsu.
Yeah. Oh wow. There you go.
2 things we're doing.
That reminds me of. There was an old gag in this movie called Sledgehammer. It was a TV show. Where the guy went to Blockbuster Video. It was in the 80s. And then he rented at-home target practice, and then he put it in his VCR. And then,
dude,
and then on the TV is this, like, silhouette going, "Shoot me, shoot me, shoot me," and then the guy pulls out his gun and shoots the TV.
So stupid, dude. Totally unrelated, but the same thing.
Remind me not to rent that one again.
Throwing for the what? Dude, I went axe throwing for the first time like a few days ago.
Oh, how'd that go?
Dude, it was awesome. To my surprise, you can throw more than just axes at targets. I threw an axe. I threw a shovel. So zombies, you better watch out. I threw little ninja stars and ninja stars that are bigger than my freaking hand. And let me tell you, they really do make that swing sound. Like all the shows that have that sound effect, it's real.
Yeah, I always want to do axe throwing. I want to try it overhead.
It's pretty rad to do overhead. Yeah. My shoulders are tight, so I do the one-handed thing. Oh. But let me tell you, first freaking throw through a bullseye, and nice. I bullseyed with the shovel.
Right between the eyes there.
Dude, split the bullseye in half with the shovel.
Voorhees special.
Awesome. Yeah, he better watch it, man. We'll get talking about that later.
Yeah. But, just so much comes to mind when you think of a Quentin Tarantino movie, and it still does.
Yeah, and not so much with a Wes Anderson movie. Like, the only thing I can think of is, well, because I'm a photographer, and I obviously want to travel a lot more across Europe to get photos of these iconic places. I see, there are nods in Wes Anderson movies because he's an artist. I will say that. This guy can paint beautiful imagery. But that's why I watch them. I don't watch them for the dialogue because it sucks. I watch it because it is something nice to watch.
So let's get into this movie, Asteroid City, which we're supposed to be reviewing. Instead, we could talk about Quentin Tarantino for days, apparently.
Whoops. So
I think from right off the bat, this movie frames itself like a what's his name? Bryan Cranston. Bryan Cranston, known from Breaking Bad, Malcolm in the Middle. He is the narrator. And he's talking about how this play got made. What's the play called? Asteroid City. Edward Norton is the guy who wrote the play. And Jason Schwartzman is the guy starring in the play.
Yeah.
But we're mostly framing it from within the play. Like we're following the plot of it where we're in this, I guess it's New Mexico City, Asteroid City, where an asteroid fell. I'm not sure if it was the dinosaur asteroid.
Somewhere in the desert.
Somewhere in the desert, and there's a science fair going on. And Jason Schwartzman, his wife died, and he's transporting his kids to apparently give them up to
the grandfather, played by Tom Hanks.
Yeah, Tom Hanks.
But what happens is his wife actually had passed away 3 weeks prior.
3 weeks prior, and he's carrying around in a Tupperware container.
Yeah.
And then since there is this science fair going on, Scarlett Johansson...
Yeah, for his son.
Huh? His son?
For what's his face's son? Yeah. Schwartzman's son is
Jason Schwartzman's son
is to partake in this.
Partaking in Scarlett Johansson's daughter and a bunch of other people. By the way, if you remember Beverly from It, she appears in not It for once, so that was nice. And Steve Carell's in this for some reason.
And yeah, he's the shopkeep of the motel establishment here.
Yeah, he's the shopkeep, and it's in the middle of nowhere. And every one of these kids, let's say maybe young adults, adolescents, they have like crazy inventions. Jason Schwartzman's kid, I guess, can project advertising material on the moon. Someone invented a jetpack. Yeah. Someone invented a laser gun that destroys things. And there's a couple of things that kind of come back and forth. There's the kid who likes to do dares. Do you dare me to jump off the cliff or something? And he's like,
and his dad is Liev Schreiber.
Yeah.
You dare me?
Dare you what?
To jump off this bungalow. It's an experiment.
No.
And Liev Schreiber, he's also like with Steve Carell. Apparently, you can buy land on a vending machine.
What do you swap for out of this particular jukebox, mister?
Of course, I understand. This machine sells land.
And then he's like, is this a scam? And just a bunch of weird little vignettes going on during this movie.
And that's the thing. That's what frustrates me about this movie, is all of it is tiny vignettes that are put together, and you're just like, where is what and what is where?
And the movie starts with it shows the bridge to nowhere. That it's just canceled. And even the way to
which is an overpass that is like 20 feet long.
Yeah, and they do nuclear testing in the background because they're in the middle of New Mexico. And in the movie actually kind of starts with what's his name, Matt Dillon. By the way, where you been? From Something About Mary. He was the mechanic, and Jason Schwartzman's car broke down, right in the middle of nowhere.
Yeah.
And he goes, "It's either a $20 fix or we got to rehaul your entire engine." Then he does the $20 fix. And then the thing explodes again, like the flux capacitor flies out. And Matt Dillon, the mechanic,
it's like all the oil comes out from the center of the station wagon.
Yeah, and he goes, I don't know what the hell.
It's wearing a belt.
And I don't understand because I thought they were stranded there at first, but they weren't. They were there for the science fair, so they were going to be there.
And that's the thing that bothered me. Yeah, I'm like, so what is? I'm like, what's happening here, man? Like. Yeah.
And then,
why?
Meanwhile,
and the thing
Edward Norton is trying to understand, what to write, what's going to call it. And he does what do you call it?
He's the writer of this play that we're witnessing.
He's the writer of the play. The actor Jason Schwartzman, who he's playing Augie, right?
Yeah.
He comes in, he says he wants to do it, and then he keeps asking, why does Augie burn his hand on the
toaster?
Not the toaster. It was like a grill, like the toasty
right
grill. Like it was like something you cook like a hot pot. There's a word for it, but I can't forget it. There's just the portable grill. Why does Augie burn his hand on the portable grill? And I was thinking and he's always asking throughout this whole movie, while it's happening, like everyone behind the scenes. And the only thing I could think of was what's her name? Scarlett Johansson actually played an actress in this, like she playing like a Marilyn Monroe type since like in the 50s.
Yeah.
And she's always wearing fake makeup. Like everyone thinks like, oh, did someone hit you? Oh no, this is makeup for a movie.
Yeah.
And
she's getting into character.
She's always getting into character. She's always like, she acts like she commits suicide at one point, but it's for a character. And while she's doing this, that's when Augie touches the thing. So maybe he wanted to feel real pain, whereas she has a lot of fake pain, trying to emulate to be real pain. But anyway, that's what I would have thought. But apparently, Augie's actor is not that deep. But during this this science fair, hosted by the military for some reason, I guess they were trying to get the jetpack and the weapons and the moon projectors from these kids.
Yeah,
it was taking place at the crater site of the meteorite.
Like in the center of the crater.
And the meteorite itself is actually in a weird cage, like it's being held like a cat or something.
Yeah.
So no one
like
takes
when
it.
someone pranks someone. Have you seen it where they prank someone with, like, here's your bottle of whiskey, but it's been welded into a cage?
Oh, I don't know.
That's what happened.
I was thinking one of those like squirrel things pops out like a like a can of snakes.
Yeah. Can of snakes.
Yeah, that was awesome. Until like started poking eyes out. I don't know what the hell happened to those. Dude, on another note, you ever hear of a Kinder chocolate egg? I saw a YouTube video about
them.
Yeah.
Kinder, those stupid eggs with the prizes in them or something?
Yeah. And they're illegal in the United States because too many kids thought that the chocolate and the toys inside were chocolate.
What?
Yeah.
That's
so because before you
man.
watch the weirdest shit on YouTube, right? And then
I was so curious to know why I haven't seen those at the checkouts.
Dumb parents who made this thing happen.
Listen, man, I have 2 kids. They can tell chocolate from plastic. That's not that difficult.
Your kids maybe, but some kids still can't tell the difference between a Tide Pod and a Starburst. I don't know. But,
that's adults. Some adults can't do that. I get it. They're idiots.
Well, they can have all the Tide Pods they want.
If you can't figure it out, tough cookie, buddy. I don't know what to tell you.
Yeah. Well, anyway, to literally tough cookies.
Yeah.
That was making me die. Tastes like burning. That's what Rob Wiggum used to say.
Tastes like renal failure.
I'm bleeding inside my chest.
Oh, man.
But anyway, at the crater, they're doing the science fair. And then all the lights turn out, everything turns green, and a very delightful computer-animated alien comes and steals the crater.
Yeah.
I think this is,
and I will say it, like I pointed out earlier, with Wes Anderson being able to make such like beautiful imagery. Like I mentioned to you before, prior to recording, I upgraded my lights around my TV to these smart lights that react to whatever's on your screen. Govee, super cheap, not a plug. Check them out. So when he drops in, it is green. I mean, he just obviously an alien. It's everything everyone thinks that it's going to be. And my entire living room just glows green. And it was the coolest scene I've experienced in a Wes Anderson movie.
Yeah.
That's it.
I hear even Stranger Things, the Netflix people, they have a lot of like Govee programs that you can get to.
Oh yeah, it runs around the TV. It's the coolest thing, man. I mean, it was like $175 for like a little box that plugs in by HDMI. Yeah. Great.
This delightful stop motion alien steals the asteroid, and then the whole place turns into a quarantine zone.
Yeah.
And they're trying to figure out what to do, and everyone's going kind of stir crazy because they're stuck in the middle of nowhere. There's a diner. There's Maya Hawke's teaching a bunch of students. They're teaching like these students what's going on, but they don't want to talk about the aliens. They don't know about the alien. What else happens in this thing?
It's just it is. It's just like you said. It's a bunch of vignettes, dude. It's a bunch of subplots. So like Maya Hawke is teaching this school of I don't know if they're Christian or Catholic
or
kids,
something, right?
So they're teaching them something, and then She is falling in love with this traveling band that happened to show up. You got a Johnny Cash type who's in a Canadian tuxedo.
Yeah.
You know, she's falling for him. And then we have more time. There's like, it's all subplot. Because then you have Augie talking to Scarlett Johansson's character, window to window. Apparently he had done a photo shoot in a nude session. You never see it. It's just, it's just all this subtext that is happening throughout the movie. And you're watching it going, when is all of this going to connect? And I'll tell you right now, none of it connects in the movie. It connects when you talk about it.
And then there's a scene where Edward Norton, the writer, he's in a classroom talking to like a bunch of creatives about like how the story should go, and then all the actors doing it, and they're giving him plot points and like, what does he say? If you're asleep, how do you know if you're asleep? That whole thing. And then I even wrote down like that big quote that
Dark City.
Remember, everybody quotes at some point, you can't wake up if you don't fall asleep. Remember, everyone kept on like, oh, Captain, my Captain Ming, you can't wake up if you can't fall asleep.
Man, that was so weird.
It was so weird.
They're chanting it.
Nowhere. You can't wake up if you don't fall asleep. They were just saying it over and over again.
You can't wake up if you don't fall asleep.
What was that?
What's that mean?
You can't wake up if you don't fall asleep.
What?
That's not true.
Say it again.
Who cares?
You can't wake up if you don't fall asleep.
And,
and I'm just like, oh man. All I could think of was Neo. It's because I was talking about the Matrix today. Is Neo when he goes to open his door and he's delivering the pirated operating system to the guy that goes to his door, and the guy's like, hey man, what's going on with your face? Like something's going on. He's like, Neo goes, if you have those times where if you're not completely sure if you're awake or you're asleep, and the guy goes, mescaline. Yeah man, mescaline.
The only way to fly.
The only way to fly. When I saw that, I was just like, what is happening right now?
Follow the white rabbit, Neo.
And he's like, oh, she's got a white rabbit.
Yeah, I was watching
the Trinity,
the new,
to crack the IRS database, D-base. God, the early 2000s were great.
Yeah, early 2000s hackers when like they're. Remember Angelina Jolie was and Matthew Lillard were the hackers.
Dude, that was awesome.
You remember when Sandra Bullock got captured by the Nets?
Dude.
All I can remember
what I'm saying is
her being chased by like a tram or something, and her arm like this.
Oh no! Like, do you remember when Austin Powers was in a tent pulling things out of a bag? Oh man!
Oh dude, my favorite Austin Powers thing where he one of them was he was like trying to break into a base, and then there was a peeing statue. And then, like, as he was like running, like he accidentally unplugged the wall.
So he had to start peeing.
Yeah, and then he started peeing, like behind the silhouette.
Stop.
Yeah, and then the guy looks and he just sees the peeing. He's like, oh. And then all of a sudden, Austin Powers pulls out some asparagus and he's like eating it. Yeah. And you see that guard like, whoa.
Dude, I'm going to say this right now. I saw every Austin Powers movie in theaters.
Yeah, I saw the last two in theaters. But I just remember...
Oh, man. Growing old sucks.
Yeah, where you been, Mike Myers? Last time I saw him was, either Bohemian Rhapsody or Inglourious Bastards again, where he played a British general doing a caricature of an English...
I think it was Inglourious Bastards for me.
Yeah.
Oh, man.
This is Operation Kino.
Anyway, back to mescaline. No, I'm kidding.
Much like us, this movie breaks another fourth wall. Where we learn Edward Norton died. He was the writer of this play. He dies. And then there's even a scene where Bryan Cranston appears in the motel. And then everybody stops.
Like a Twilight Zone scene?
Yeah. He stops and looks at everybody, looks at him, and he goes, I'm not in this scene, am I? And he's like, who are you? He's like, don't worry about it.
And then who else is in it? Who's the other guy that freaking who played Salvador Dali in Midnight in Paris? Who's the guy with the schnoz on him?
Oh, I forget. A lot of these guys.
Let's see, Salvador. Adrian Brody.
Oh yeah, Adrian Brody.
Adrian Brody has a few reoccurring scenes in this movie, and the thing is, the scenes are happening externally of this plot for the actual movie Asteroid City.
The director.
Yeah. It's just weird, man.
Yeah, and then
it's a lot going on, is what I'm saying.
Yeah, and then there's a scene where they're actually going to let everyone go because the quarantine's over, but then the alien comes and returns the meteorite.
Yeah.
And it's been cataloged. And he doesn't have any words. He just comes and looks really shy and then leaves again, right? And then as everyone's like, they're like, oh, we got to quarantine again. Everyone goes crazy. And then Jason Schwartzman's character goes, wait, why did he touch the hot pot? And leaves the set, right?
Left it.
He left it. And then he walks past like everybody who's behind the scenes, including Jeff Goldblum dressed in an alien costume. And he goes, yeah, well, everyone knows the alien is a metaphor. And then Jason Schwartzman's like, metaphor for what? He's like, I don't remember. And he's like, oh. And then he leaves the set. And then he's waiting for the next like scene that he's going to be in. And then I guess it's like Broadway. There's a bunch of shows going. And he runs into Margot Robbie. Yeah, because
he's falling in love with... Yeah.
He runs into Margot Robbie, who was cut from this play, where she became, a lead in another play.
Yeah.
And then he goes, why did Augie touch the hot pot? And then she goes, something about like memories or something, or I don't know. They have like a conversation that I've seen like a few times, but I don't quite understand what the heck was going on. I was trying to get some closure in that. Talks to Margot Robbie. That's what they do. The you can't wake up if you don't fall asleep. Farewell to the wife. I guess I guess the aliens like abducted him or something, that they cut that whole part out and made no sense. I don't know. Asteroid City kind of frustrated me. I'll tell you what.
It frustrated me. And here's the thing. I took a lot of English classes for writing and all this stuff. And let me tell you, man, this movie, and again, I'm going to say, I wrote a whole paper on the subjectivity of English, which can apply to this, like the subjectivity of script writing, and and all these subplots that you pull from that you're gonna unfurl later on down the road. You're gonna get foreshadowing. You're gonna do all these crazy little fancy tricks, dude. None of it made sense. It was, hey, look, it's Wes Anderson. Put your name on it, man. Make it pretty. It's gonna work.
I don't know, and he did the same thing with the French Dispatch, and I feel like. And I feel like if I saw Grand Budapest Hotel and some of the other ones he made, I would have been kind of disappointed too. Like I said, I liked Fantastic Fox.
Yeah.
And by the way, the movie just kind of stops. Like, I don't think it, like, I guess they leave in the end. They bury the.
They leave, but it just stops. That's the thing. It was all a waste of time, as is whenever you stop in a little place in the middle of nowhere.
And I think I've mentioned like one of the worst movies I've ever seen. The only movie I've ever walked out of the theaters of. Only movie I've ever walked out was Identity. And I will tell Asteroid City you get one extra point from me that's above the Identity. That's because at least Asteroid City told you at the beginning of the movie that we are watching a play, and you know what I mean. They didn't pull like it wasn't.
I'll say this. It didn't make me fall asleep like Jurassic Park 3. Oh, yeah. And I am talking about the original Jurassic Park.
Yeah, the Jurassic Park 3 that with the slashes on it.
It's like right here. Right there.
Yeah. But Identity, at some point they told you that like the characters in it weren't real. Right? It was all in somebody's head. And that pissed me off. Because that's 3/4 into the movie and you're trying to follow a mystery.
Yeah.
The mystery is there's no mystery. And I'm just like, and then somebody told me later on that there's another fake out there at the very end of that too. And I was like, okay, well, even better as far as I can tell. This movie at least told you at the beginning that it's a play, right?
Yeah.
And then it ends, and then like the endings is very forgettable. I mean, I will tell you there was a cute roadrunner actually meeping around. Meep. It was like running like a real roadrunner. Oh. So that was
cool. Right, yeah, there was. That was cool.
Yeah,
I think if they had a cat, would have saved the movie.
Maybe they did. I don't even remember. But the other thing was a couple of brief homages to Mars Attacks. I think the alien itself.
Dude, I haven't seen that movie in forever.
Yeah, and his costume were kind of inspired by Mars Attacks, maybe, but also definitely they kept playing the cowboy song that killed the Martians. Do you remember there was like a cowboy song that they would play where he's like, "Oh you," and then their heads would explode inside.
I was wondering why they would play that.
Yeah, they played that like a few times.
I guess I know.
But you know what's kind of funny now that I mention it? That was also the way that they killed the aliens in Star Trek Beyond. They played music. They played the Beastie Boys to kill all those aliens. So that was the Mars Attacks ending from that. But like I said, not a whole lot here. I mean, check it out for some reason. So I'm going to give it a C+. Asteroid City is a movie that introduces a lot of ideas and themes early on, gains some momentum, and then completely fizzles out by the end. This movie would have benefited from a simpler story and a clearer narrative.
You know, I couldn't agree more, man. I'm going to give this one a C-. And the only reason I didn't give it a D was because it was very pretty to look at. This movie definitely was an experience to watch. You know, and it probably had to be because I had these like awesome lighting effects at home and a great sound system, and nobody was bothering me in a theater because I'd be really mad if I paid for this thing.
Yeah, I know, right?
But watching it and experiencing the movie was great. Paying attention to the plot, on the other hand, I was like, look, man, I'm all about these things, getting the most bang for my buck, getting these amazing little tidbits of flavor, we'll say. This thing was horrible. It sucked, and it felt like it just did a hard stop in most scenes. So for me, it's toss-up. You can watch it or not. You're not going to lose out. There's no continuity between any other Wes Anderson movie and this. So
there's no Wes Anderson version, as far as I can tell, right? Like, it's not like American Horror Story.
There is none.
Yeah, I don't get it. So whoever's financing these Wes Anderson movies, tighten the leash around Wes Anderson. Say you
don't
want
give him any
story.
wine glasses to fart in. You know, that's enough.
Yeah, just some really literally hard artsy fartsy fly on wall shit going on with these movies. And I don't know. I like, we review them just to see them, and you kind of used to be kind of happy, but I think, dare I say, Wes Anderson is kind of becoming a little bit of an M. Night Shyamalan.
He is.
But
there's no twist.
I think, I do think I will give Wes Anderson more credit because at least his movies look nice, like you say. They look nice.
Yeah.
And I can tell he has he's trying. I don't know what M. Night Shyamalan's been doing with his life and who's financing his stuff. So
selling his soul, dude. We said it.
Sold his soul to the devil. But anyway, that has been our hot take on Asteroid City. Remember to like, share. Oh, by the way, Asteroid City in quotation marks. Asteroid City. Remember to like, share, subscribe. Check us out on Twitter, Facebook, wherever you find your stuffs. We are out there. I'm your host, Marc Rubalcaba, joined once again by Mr. Abel Pineda. We will catch you next time. Ooh. Asteroid City.
Friggin' aliens.